Hi, hello, and welcome to the March video of how I wrote that song where I pretend I'm on genius lyrics, but I'm really not. Oh my gosh, let's go. It's actually very interesting because I started it with the classical music sample that I had. It was an obvious one, you know, Vivaldi did 4 seasons, 1 song for each month of the year for 4 seasons, which is kind of what I'm doing this year. So I was like, perfect, let's pay homage to that. Plus, his theme from Spring is like one of the most known classical music pieces, which, you know, makes it easy for me. So it's dun 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 da 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 dun dun da da da, and I was like, great, awesome, love it. And as soon as I had that melody, I knew that was going to be the melody I'll be using. I was like, this sounds like a verse melody. So I had basically all of that ready to go before I started writing. So let's do the verse. Ever since I was born, been a spring flower starter. Hibernate till it's warm, and the snow melts to water. You can still hear that it's the Vivaldi melody, but it's popified, contemporized, if you will. And then lyrically, I had a lot of trouble how to approach this. Like, I knew it had to be about spring and that feeling you have in the spring of everything coming alive, but I didn't know what the theme or like the hook was going to be. In January, it was in January. In February, it was because I've been dating me my whole life. And this one needed some sort of a hook too. And I spent a lot of time thinking about, you know, words or concepts associated with March or spring. And then one day when I was sitting outside, this was back in January, which here in California, spring honestly starts in January. And this year it's been extra warm. So I was sitting outside, hear the bees humming, see like the light was like peeking through some like tree leaves, and it was beautiful and romantic and like very aesthetically pleasing. And it hit me, spring awakening. And I was like, amazing, perfect. That's gonna be our hook. And then as soon as I came up with that, everything came together very easily. So that first verse, I talk about ever since I was born, been a spring flower's daughter. I say that because I'm born in May. My birthday is May 25th, which is, you know, peak spring. And I really do feel most fulfilled, if you will, during spring and summer, like those times of the year. I feel like that's when I come alive. So I wanted to talk about that in verse 1. The whole concept of melting refers back to the January song. I fear that it all melts way before spring. And I sort of wanted to do a recall to that in this verse. Let's do pre-chorus. But here comes a change, I can feel it inside. I see sun in the cloudless sky. So initially, I thought the melody of this pre-chorus was going to be the second half of the Vivaldi thing. Dun, dun, da, da, dun, 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 dun. But it didn't quite work. I felt like it was too similar in rhythm and melody to the verse, so I wanted something different. And I was playing around the piano one day and came up with this, and now it's probably one of my, I don't know, just favorite melodies I've ever written. I don't know why, it feels good, you know? It just feels good when you sing it, when you hear it. It's satisfying, if that makes sense. And I think it's a good transition between the more choppy verse and then like the soaring chorus that we have. In this part, I wanted to sort of set the stage visually with lyrics. Sun, the cloudless sky, you see all of this happening, and then chorus, and then you do something. So that's kind of it. Let's actually do the chorus now. Open my windows and breathe in the breeze of March dancing on my skin. Suddenly I have a reason to come alive. Wait, the season calls me again. Spring awakening. Fun fact about this chorus, actually it might not be fun unless you're a songwriter, but I thought this chorus was going to be super like up tempo, almost like the Really Like You chorus, and it would go dun, 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 dun. Like I thought it was going to be this like huge, like almost like EDM-y chorus, and I don't know why, don't ask me why. And then as I started putting together the production and logic, because I knew I wanted it to be strings and stuff, I was like, well, that chorus does not work. And so basically I kept the melody, and surprisingly enough, surprisingly to me, it worked as more of like a ballady romantic chorus. In fact, actually, I think it works way better in that vibe than it does with like the shouting big, like, I don't know, belting chorus, dance song chorus. I went back and rewrote it over and over and over and over. Initially, this chorus was about, I think, living in every moment or something like that. If there's a reason for breathing, there must be signs we're not seeing. That was one of the original lyrics, which, like, it went from those verse and pre-melodies to that. And I was like, well, that makes no sense. Or like not as much sense as I would want it to. So I went back and I was like, let's just describe an actual moment that you come alive in the spring. Open my windows and breathe in. You know, I think March is the first month of the year where it's warm enough where you can open up your windows and sort of let your rooms air out a little bit. So that's a reference to that. The breeze of March dancing on my skin, you know, just like you feel this light wind blowing and it's no longer super cold the way it was in the winter. It's like getting warmer now and you can feel it dance on your skin. Suddenly I have a reason to come alive with the season, you know, the sunshine, the birds are singing and you feel like, I'm back. Calls me again, spring awakening. I like the calls me again because it almost feels like nature is waking you up, and it's like this symbiotic relationship between you and nature and the way we co-inhabit this earth. I don't know if I'll include that. Okay, let's keep going. Verse 2 lyrics. The songs of birds in the trees whisper of new beginnings. The steady humming of bees, daisies, I wear like earrings. I love this verse. When I was sitting outside one day, and oh my god, all of these lyrics have come from me sitting in the garden, which, you know, love that. We have some Japanese cherry trees in our backyard, and they usually bloom right like at the beginning of February, which is what I'm saying. It's spring here already. And usually right before, like when they start blooming, there's so many bees that come around and you can hear like the humming zzz, and there's like a little lavender plant underneath it. And it feels like it buzzes with life in spring. And that's what this verse was about. The steady humming of bees, you know, hearing birds singing in the trees, and then daisies, I feel like are such a spring flower. Let's do the bridge, which is not that exciting, but let's do it anyways. Can you feel it? Can you hear it? Can you feel it? Oh, spring awakening. Can you feel it? Can you hear it? Can you feel it? Oh, spring awakening. Since the chorus is harder to sing along to, there's a lot of lyrics and the melody moves around a lot. It's pretty, but it's more difficult to sing along to than maybe February, which is super straightforward. I wanted there to be a part of the song where you could sing along to, like something almost like a refrain that you could sing to yourself, if you will. And that's the part, you know, it's a straightforward melody. Can you hear it? Can you feel it? Can you hear it? Oh, spring awakening. That's it. In the song, if you hear a bunch of background vocals in that section, that's actually my mom and my brother, Clement. They helped me out because when we had a first mix of the song, it was just my vocals in there, and it didn't feel as grandiose as I wanted it to. You know, this whole song, I wanted it to sound like you're walking into this magical fairy tale garden. And that's like the height of that feeling, the bridge, the can you feel it? And I wanted to emphasize that. I was like, oh my gosh, we need some like choir vocals there. And so what I did is I took a mic, and me and my mom and my brother were all singing into it from like a bit of a distance away, so you get the room sound. And we did around, I don't know, 20 takes of each of them. And then when you stack them on top of each other, it sounds like a choir singing. That is it. That is the story behind March. It has to be one of my favorite songs I've ever done, just because you guys know I have a background in classical music. I grew up listening to so much classical music, and this just, I don't know, it feels right. It feels like this is part of me. So being able to do a song with all these beautiful strings and include that into pop music has just been an incredible honor. I was gonna say journey, but no, honor is way better. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this song. Happy March, and I'll see you in April. Bye. I don't know what that was. Okay, goodbye.